Hey guys, thanks for stopping by for another video here at alliseeisW, where we talk about stocks, Bitcoin, and finance. In today's video, I would like to share with you the latest updates with all that's going on in the Bitcoin market. We'll be covering price action, technical analysis of Bitcoin, strategy, MSTR, as well as the miners as well. Today, we've seen Bitcoin having a nice run up, and this resulted in strategy MSTR stock having a nice run up. Let's first take a look at Plan B's post. So he's saying Bitcoin June closing price 107,000 yesterday, new monthly close all-time high like clockwork. So, Q2 ending. This is really going to help, companies that have a big hodl with Bitcoin, with the FASB accounting rule change, where you price in the fair value of Bitcoin at the end of the quarter. This is going to result in like strategy, with like $14 billion of unrealized gains. And think about other companies like Mara, Riot, CleanSpark. These miners are going to really show some nice accounting statements, and that's really going to front run the price as we head into the month of July with those updates. But key thing here, as we're looking at the Bitcoin stock to flow model, every bull run for Bitcoin, we tend to see this top off point where the circles become, bright yellow, orange, but we haven't really seen that yet. We're beginning to see the red turn to like a dark, brighter hue, but we haven't seen that neon yellow color yet. Once we get to like green color, that's an indicator that, we're now in the bear market. But according to the Bitcoin stock to flow model, we haven't been broken out yet. Bitcoin has potential to run up to 150 to 250,000. Josh Mandel, he poses another head fake hump day, looking good. I mean, key thing is, even with all of these uncertainties with Trump, Elon, divorce news, what happened? Bitcoin ran up. We had that Middle East tension going on with the war. What happened? People, sold off, but what happened? Bitcoin ramped back up. And now we're seeing Bitcoin just reaching up close to its prior resistance. Think about it. We're only a few percent away for Bitcoin to break through its all-time high. July month is going to be fireworks. I do see us, getting to like 120,000. Fiat Archive post is Elon Musk likes Twitter comment that he's quietly stacking Bitcoin. Obviously, we know that Tesla has like 12,000 Bitcoin. Since Saylor convinced him to buy up Bitcoin back in 2020, Tesla overall has made money just holding on to Bitcoin. But is Elon secretly buying Bitcoin? We don't know. Very possible that he is already. Bitcoin news posts is if history repeats, we could see Bitcoin reach 250,000 soon. So in the last bull market, we've seen, Bitcoin run up all the way to like close to 70,000. So with that same performance from the last bull cycle, let's say, in this year right now, 2025, if we had a similar performance of last bull cycle, we are expected to reach, to that $250,000 performance level. Vivek posts Bitcoin balance on OTC desk hits an all-time low. Supply shock incoming. So the big time whales, they, revert to the OTC desk. You think of like the markets for buyers and sellers. In purple, look at the OTC for miner. I mean, it just continues to go down, but Bitcoin price continues to go up. Once Plan B option for buying on the OTC goes away, the only place to really buy it is the, exchanges. And when Coinbase and Binance, all those exchanges have a low supply of Bitcoin, price of Bitcoin is just going to send it to new levels. HODL 15 posts which public miner company accumulated the most Bitcoin in Q2? What do you notice? So strategy, just in the last 3 months, they bought up, 69,000 Bitcoin, 21 Capital. They got a big hodl too, 37,000. Meta Planet, they acquired 10,000 Bitcoin. They've been ramping that up. Mara, with 3,500 purchase, CleanSpark, pure Bitcoin miner play, mining 1,325 at like a cost of like, 40,000 Bitcoin per Bitcoin price. Definitely, winning in terms of just costs to mine versus buying Bitcoin. But just look at how much, companies are buying right now. It's really a race as to which company can buy up the most, hold the most Bitcoin at the end of the day. Michael Saylor today posts copy MSTR or bow to NVIDIA. You see MSTR, BSC return 3,150%. NVIDIA's not even close to that. I mean, a third close to that performance of MSTR with, you know, 1307%, and Bitcoin behind that. That just shows strategy's dominance, and it will continue. Why? Because their hodl stack will be very exponential. Every 1% run up of Bitcoin, strategy share price follows. They make money, and this is going to result in strategy to become a multi-trillion-dollar company. And soon we will hear the announcement of consideration inclusion into the S&P 500. So Steve Urkel, he posts Mara consolidation. So from this, top point trend line, what are we seeing? A lot of people have been hating on Mara, but just purely based on technicals, oversold situation. We had a pop up, definitely huge upside with Mara. I think where it currently is right now, extremely undervalued, still has room to run. Why? Because the fundamentals are there. They're also, potentially pivoting into HPC AI with the HODL stack of like 50,000 Bitcoins. That's huge. There's no, company that has that amount besides MSTR, Titan. Urkel also posts as CleanSpark got warmer, then hot, sheesh, breaking out on the weekly. So we're looking at the weekly chart. We see this nice, breakout just recently, but I don't think that CleanSpark is going to end here. I mean, what goes down very quick? I mean, since November timeframe, $18 all the way to six, we're going to see, $18 come very soon for CleanSpark. Chris posts Riot looks great and likely continues much higher from here. This will be trading back in the $20 range in no time. So, we're seeing some nice price actions with the big three miners. Riot is breaking out as well now, getting back to $12. It was hovering in the $12 range for many months, for like half a year. The fact that it got back into that $12 range soon enough, it's going to, break out into that $20 range based on the technicals from a near, short, and long-term perspective. Let's take a look at overall Bitcoin technical analysis. We're looking at the daily candles, current price action right now, 108,833. Key thing that we see is, just on the near term, breaking out of this Ichimoku cloud, we're now hovering above the clouds. One of the key things we want to, keep in mind is the consistent, stable RSI level at 52. It's not overbought, not oversold. Definitely creating this support level at like the high 100,000 support. I really think that in the month of July, we're going to see somewhere around that 120,000, potentially more upside. But overall, year 2025, we're going to see a huge breakout where I'm thinking we're going to get to that 150, $250,000 range sweet spot. With Bitcoin expected to break to new all-time high in the year 2025, and because MSTR had an underperforming first half of the year, this is really going to be the second half that will show strategy's dominance. And that's a good thing, having MSTR consolidate. Last year, it ran up, 440% in performance gain. And because the first half of MSTR has been, underperforming. This gives it opportunity for the next leg up for that next parabolic phase. I really do see MSTR breaking out. Let's say if Bitcoin gets to like 150,000, definitely we're going to be over that 550 prior resistance that we've seen. Given where we are now, MSTR has, double the amount of Bitcoins on their balance sheet. This company is only just going to continue to grow and add shareholder value. And because of that, MSTR has potential to get to that $1,000 range in the year 2025. Looking at just the technicals, on the weekly, MACD, hopefully we see that, that breakout, especially with today having a nice reversal after yesterday's 7% drop. RSI is in that consistent 50 range. What did we see back in November? RSI 85, So since then, we haven't had an RSI run up yet, and it'll be once Bitcoin breaks out. Let's take a look at Mara's, daily chart. So key thing is we've had, Mara, hovering in this bull flag since November. So that's like, 7 months, 6, 7 months, been just hovering, lower lows. What happened since then? When relative strength was like oversold at 21, now we're seeing that reversal. We actually see, the price break out of this bull flag. That's a key indicator you want to see. Relative strength is, improving currently at 67 with today's breakout, 13% run up. We're expected to see Mara, break out into that $20, $30 range. I'm forecasting that may be even in July. CleanSpark, let's take a look at the technical analysis on the daily chart. So, what we saw back in 2024, we had RSI of 85. I mean, that's when it ran up from $3 to $24. Since then, it's just been bleeding out. Relative strength has just been going down. We see lower lows. Key thing is we see consolidation in this bull flag. But what do you see now? I mean, the price action is, flirting and attempting to break out of this bull flag today with the gain of 12%. RSI is slowly picking up, and we may very well have a breakout session where we can have the price, run back up to its prior resistance of like $18 on the near term. I definitely see upside getting back to its prior resistance of $24. So be on the lookout. CleanSpark can make huge runs from here on out. Let's take a look at Riot Platforms. We're looking at, a long range year to year from like 2017 to like 2025. Back in 2018, RSI ran up to like over 80. And then last bull cycle 2021, it ran up 92, extremely overbought, went from like $3 to like over $80. Since then, 2021 to now, we haven't seen the RSI breakout at all. It's just been consistently in the plateau. So will history repeat itself? Who knows? Only time will tell, but it's all dependent on the market makers. When they want to send up a stock price, they will allow for it to run up. Where we are right now, right, 1220 got back to, that double digit range. We may very well have a nice run up with Riot Platforms. So be on the lookout for potential upside with this company as well, getting into the $18 to $20 on the near term in the month of July, August. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video where I covered the four-headed dragon. We covered MSTR, Mara, Riot, CleanSpark. Let me know what your predictions are, how high you think Bitcoin, MSTR, and the big three miners are going to be headed. Thank you for watching. Put your comments and questions down below. I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye, guys.